Hey everybody. Uh I am I'm sick today. I have to take these pills and they don't make me feel very good. So I decided to stay home. So what we're going to learn about today, I still have a lesson for you. We're going to learn about a little bit about figure skating, and then we're going to read a story or listen to a story about skaters. And then we're going to try to use our pencil to make a similar shape that skaters might make as they skate along the ice. And then after that, we're going to try to color it in. So here is a short story about Ruby and Max learning how to figure skate.
Max and Ruby, Ruby and Max, Max and Ruby, Ruby and Ruby and Ruby and Ruby and Max and Ruby, Rex and Ruby.
Max, Ruby, and Luis were going skating. Ruby and Luis wanted to practice their figure eights. Max wanted to skate with the big bunnies. Hockey, said Max. You can't play hockey yet, Max, said Ruby. First, you have to learn to skate. Ruby helped Max put on his skates. Luis helped Max put on his helmet. Max walked onto the ice. He took a couple of steps, he flapped his arms, and he fell down. Oh, Max. Come on, Max. I think you need some lessons, said Louise. Don't worry, Max, said Ruby. I've got something to help you learn to skate. Ruby gave Max a blue chair. Max held onto the chair and started skating around the rink. Ruby put on her skates. She was ready. Ruby started her figure eight. Then she spotted Max. He was skating towards the hockey players. Ruby hurried over to stop him. Hockey, said Max. You can't play hockey yet, said Ruby. First, you have to learn how to skate. Ruby pushed Max away from the hockey game. You practice skating here, Max, said Ruby. Luis and I are going to practice our figure eights. Ruby started her figure eight. Then she spotted Max. He was skating towards the hockey players again. Ruby hurried over to stop him. Hockey, said Max. You can't play hockey yet, said Ruby. First you have to learn to skate. Right, Roger? Roger, one of the big bunnies playing hockey, agreed. Uh-huh, he said. And that's Roger there. Ruby pushed Max away from the hockey game. You practice skating here, Max, said Ruby. Luis and I are going to practice our figure eights. As Max sat in his chair, a conga line skated past. Max grabbed the scarf of the last bunny. A conga line, that's when people all grab each other and they make a line. Ruby started her figure eight. Then she spotted Max. He was part of the conga line. As Ruby watched, Max let go of the scarf. He glided in front of the hockey net. Don't worry, Max, yelled Ruby. I'll get you. Ruby skated towards Max. Roger skated towards Ruby. Ruby turned to miss Roger. Ruby turned and skated towards Max again. A group of players started towards Ruby, and Ruby turned to miss them. Ruby turned and skated towards Max again. Ruby pushed Max away from the hockey game. Ruby, you made a perfect figure eight, said Louise. Roger skated up and passed Max the puck. Max kicked the puck. The puck slid into the net. Max scored a goal. Max scored, said Ruby. Hockey, said Max. So that's the story of Max and Ruby learning how to play hockey or skating, something like that. So the figure eight is a shape like this. It's when you go and you make an eight, kind of sideways. If you imagine my finger is doing that, that's what a figure eight is. So that's what Ruby was trying to do with her skating. And if we look, let's look at some figure skaters here. So these are figure skaters, and yeah, if you watch how they're moving across the ice, and they're making these big swooping lines, right? They're not doing anything that's very scribbly. They're making these long, graceful lines, and you can imagine that the figure 8 shape that the Ruby was trying to do. You can imagine how she might do that as she skates. Just kind of making one circle and then going back and making another circle. So these skaters are very graceful, and it's really kind of amazing. Wow, look at that. How does he, what? What? That is insane. How did they do that? These are Olympians from France. French people are really pretty skilled people. So that's a little figure skating. So, how are we going to draw a figure skating? Well, let's pretend that our pencil is like the figure skaters moving along that ice. And you can see how you could move it kind of just in a lot of big swooping lines, right? Sometimes you curve back. But we're not going anything that's very scribbly. We're trying to make a line that travels way across the page. And we're going back over where we've gone, right? So it just kind of makes this really kind of interesting looping pattern. And there it is, I've met back up where I started. That's important, okay? Make sure that you get back to where you started. Here's the next step, okay? Once you did that, here's what you got to do. So we have this kind of weird looking shape that we made now, right? What I want you to do next is look at all the space. I want you to color in, see what I'm doing here with the green, right? I'm coloring in all inside of this one shape. Okay, I'm taking my time. I'm being pretty careful. I'm not scribbling like crazy, right? Even though I'm making pretty long lines, my pencil is not going outside the edge of this shape that I'm coloring in, right? So I'm just kind of coloring it in, and it might take you a little bit of time, okay? That's okay. Don't rush it, because when you finish these types of drawings, they're very pretty, actually. I think I really enjoy doing this. I think this is a fun activity to do, and it's kind of relaxing. You don't have to think about it very much. So I want you to color in the first shape, and then once you have that one all colored in, and it might take you a minute. I'm gonna maybe do it a little bit faster with the next one, because I think that my pencil is maybe too small. So I'm gonna change not only my color, but I'm going to get maybe a little bit bigger pencil. Okay, so let's see here. What should I do? Well, I'm going to change. Oh, geez. You really got to get it colored in nice too, right? I'm not leaving a lot of little white spaces. Really coloring that shape in good. Because it'll look better if you do that, okay? And so I'm going to get a different color. Here we go. We'll do a blue, yeah, and I'll color in the second shape. I'm going to color it in, and I'm not going to go over the line. I'm going to be really careful. Sometimes it's good to outline the shape so you can really just color it in nicely. Okay, so then it's easier. Maybe you can be a little bit more scribbly. Once you have that outline, make it a little thick, and then you can color that all in. Okay, so that's what I want you to do, and then you keep going. Maybe you pick another color. Let's get maybe a purple. How about that? Yeah, okay, I'll color in this shape too. You can, but try not to let the same color touch the same color, right? So I have a blue, and I have a purple, and I have a green. Maybe I'll get a yellow this time, right? And maybe I can't use yellow again for a little while, or blue again for a little while, because I'm all out of space, so I'm not having the same color touching the other color the same. Okay, and so what should I get next? Maybe I'll get so because I did yellow down there, I can maybe do an orange up here or something like that too. That starts to look pretty cool. Yeah, so I think probably everybody's getting it. I'll show you what my finished version looks like. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, so there's our finished version. I colored in all the shapes. and that's really pretty. I don't have the same color touching, and I think it looks good.
Yeah.
So that's what we have, okay? I would like you to try to create that. While you're drawing on the paper, imagine that you're skating along on the ice, okay? And then when you're coloring in all of the shapes, well, I don't know, you can imagine that you're anything you want. But have fun with it, okay? Don't scribble it. Take your time. Make it look really good, okay? And you can take these home when you're all done. Don't forget to put your supplies away when you're all finished. And please, let's remember, we raise our hands. We're not yelling and shouting and screaming, okay? We have to keep our volume at a nice level. And we should stay in our seats. Raise your hand if you have a question. And that's all I got. Have fun, okay? I'll see you all next week. Thanks. Bye.